Curiosity takes a huge risk and climbs a very steep hill to get on top of a ridge, loses its balance and takes a 1.8 billion pixel image. After taking 2 drill samples at a site known as Glenative, Curiosity takes a selfie. These annotations show the crater rim in the distance, as well as Vera Rubin Ridge. Curiosity has made a lot of progress through Glen Torrid, and formerly known as the Clay-bearing Unit. While the team at NASA celebrates Thanksgiving, they order the rover to complete its biggest panorama. Yet this image contains nearly 1.8 billion pixels and is the most detailed image ever taken on another planet. The view looks over the whole Glen Torrid area, with Vera Rubin Ridge in the distance. We can see the rover's tracks through the Clay Ridge unit. As we zoom in on the formidable Mount Sharp, we can see a ridge. This is part of what's known as the Green Hue Pediment, and Curiosity will eventually have to climb up it in order to access higher layers on the mountainside. Curiosity makes good progress towards the Green Hue Pediment and currently sits on a small hill known as Western Butte. The plan for now is to simply drive up to the Green Hue Pediment to get a better look at the rocks there. This visualization shows the proposed route. The rover is currently on its way to touch the Green Hue Pediment before it will track back around into the Clay-bearing Unit once again and then head to a more accessible route onto the Green Hue Pediment. The rover edges closer to the Green Hue Pediment. Geologists desperately want to gather data from the top of the structure, and so talks begin among engineers about a possible climb for Curiosity. Then on PSAL 2649, Curiosity wakes up with a bad attitude, quite literally. The rover is feeling dizzy and stops all operations. Just like as humans, Curiosity needs to have an awareness of itself relative to its environment. This data is normally stored in its memory and tracks things like the angle of the slope it sits on, how close its arm is to the ground, and if there are any big rocks nearby that could pose a hazard. The rover evaluates this data before engaging any motors to make sure that any movements can be performed safely. When the answer is no, the rover freezes in place and waits for the ground team to guide it on the next move. The team at NASA discovers a problem with Curiosity's attitude. The aerospace definition of attitude is how an object is placed in a 3D space. Basically, it's 3D orientation. So we can confidently say that Curiosity currently has a bad attitude. After the ground team informs Curiosity of its proper attitude, the journey continues. This map shows Curiosity's current location. On PSAL 2654, the rover is now very close to the overbearing Green Hue Pediment. To access data from the top of Green Hue, the rover will have to start climbing. Although this takes the rover on a little detour from its proposed route, the engineers agree that it's possible and worth the risk. Before making the climb, Curiosity uses its dust removal tool on a nearby rock. Multiple exposed mineral veins are present in the image. The team decides this area would make a good drill sample, so Curiosity drills another hole, this time on a rock feature called Hutton. The drilling goes ahead perfectly without any issues and produces grey amorphous tailings. Enough for the sample inlet. If you've noticed, each time the rover drills, the colours of the tailings are different from the reddish surface. This is the first hole the rover drilled on Mars. Evidently, the tailings in this hole are reddish in colour, similar to the interior of this drill hole at the Oberlady site in the Clay-bearing Unit. But here at Hutton, it's more greyish. Can you guess why? It's because oxygen reacted with iron in various parts of the rock differently. The tailings on the left are red because oxygen had the opportunity to react not only with the external rock surface, but also the interior. However, the image on the right tells a different story. The oxidation could not penetrate deeper into the rock. In this case, this is particularly interesting for scientists because this kind of sedimentary rocks can house the traces of organic life in the past. Rocks preserve traces of ancient life better when they are not oxidized, because oxygen can break down the organic materials before they fossilize. Although the rover's drilling went well, it was far from elegant. The surface Curiosity sits on is so brittle that the rover's wheels crack the sedimentary rocks, turning them into detritus and powder. As it looks for a way up the green hue pediment, the rover catches an incredible close-up view of the ridge from below. These stratified layers are called nodules. These rocks are completely different from those of the clay-bearing unit, but somewhat similar to those we saw at Vera, Rubin Ridge. Another soul on Mars, and another chance for Curiosity to take a selfie after its successful drill campaign at Hutton. From the data that Curiosity is collected so far, scientists are now convinced that Gale Crater was an oasis of water in the ancient past. Water ran through the Gettys Vallis channel and spilled out into the clay-bearing unit. The green hue pediment resisted erosion and essentially became one big shoreline. On Sol 2693, Curiosity begins the climb up the green hue pediment. These raw images show the angle of the rover as it climbs the incline is more than 30 degrees. It's considered a very risky move, but engineers are comforted by the fact that it's not the steepest climb a rover has performed on Mars. The Opportunity rover previously managed an even steeper climb, yet only by fractions of a degree. The rover quickly takes a drill sample from the top and looks toward Mount Sharp. There is no viable route from here, so the rover must descend the hill and get back on the official path. As the rover turns around to descend, it captures an incredible view from the top of the green hue pediment. In the distance, we can see the crater floor, where Curiosity began this formidable journey. The rover is really making strides now. Curiosity is currently watching a dust from its position at a site known as Mary Anning. The dust devil is estimated to be about 16 feet or 5 meters wide, and at least 164 feet or 50 meters tall. The frames in this sequence were captured over 4 minutes and 15 seconds. The team decides it's a good place to take some drill samples and orders the rover to go ahead. Curiosity drills 3 holes. This time lapse shows one of the drill attempts. In reality, it took the rover over 20 minutes to complete, using the feed extended drilling method, which still seems to be working well. Engineers responsible for the drilling can instantly tell that the rock is very soft, based on the data from Curiosity's pressure sensors. It was so soft, in fact, that no percussion was required, only rotation from the drill. Curiosity celebrates in the usual way. By taking a selfie, the rover will now spend a few sols putting together one of its most beautiful panoramas yet. In this image, some NASA scientists have described what they are seeing as a series of benches descending toward the crater floor. In the distance, it's certainly a great view. From here, the crater rim can be seen in the background. Curiosity turns around to continue the climb up Mount Sharp and comes across some interesting terrain. The closest outcrop is named Mont Mercou. Mount Sharp looms behind the other outcrops. While looking up, the rover captures a special type of cloud. These iridescent or mother-of-pearl clouds are sometimes spotted here on Earth at high latitudes, but are very rare. They radiate different colors and occur when clouds are very high in the atmosphere. This type of cloud might actually be more common on Mars due to the thin atmosphere. The rover approaches Mont Marco and takes 2 mosaics from slightly different positions. When put together, these images create a 3D effect. The rover team spots some clouds behind Mont Mercou. They order Curiosity to take a few more images, which are then combined into a video sequence. Each frame of the sequence is made from 6 individual images. The rover takes a selfie near Mont Mercou after a successful drill campaign at a site named Nguyen Trong. It's named after a village in France because the area on Mars contains nuntronite, a rare type of clay. The mineral was named after the area that it was first found, the French village Nuntron. Curiosity spends a little more time observing clouds before setting off on a big drive. The team orders the rover to look toward a mountain in the distance, and they give it the name Rafael Navarro Mountain, after the astrobiologist Rafael Navarro Gonzalez, who worked on the mission until he passed away on January 6, 2021. This image shows the proposed route. Curiosity will pass alongside Rafael Navarro Mountain and then climb up onto the green pediment once again before proceeding to the exciting Gettys Valleys Channel. Before doing that, Curiosity cannot resist climbing up on top of Mont Marcu and taking a panorama. The other side of Mont Marcu is relatively flat, so it was an easy drive for the rover. Still, the team at NASA won't allow the rover to get too close to the edge. After a long drive, Rafael Navarro Mountain comes into range. The rover will pass alongside this to access higher layers on Mount Sharp.